Right. Hello, everyone. What's up, Matt? How you doing? Let me just upload it, share the stream, copy stream link. Just gonna upload it to Twitter, and then we can start. Bear with me. Okay. How we doing? How we doing, Billy? How we doing, Charlie? How we doing, Lucan? We all good? Let me just post this on my Twitter, repost it, and then we'll begin. That's Ben. That's Mr. Ben Bowman. Right. Hello and welcome back to Dare and Doing. This is Tottenham Transfers episode 2. There's been a lot's happened since yesterday. I mean, I was at the game. I came back. I actually didn't realise we'd signed Kinsky until I was trying to get my ticket out of my wallet on the digital wallet, and then I saw Ben saying, "Oh, can you make this like thumbnail for me?" He was straight on it, and I was like, "Oh my god, fucking hell, we've signed a player!" It came like out of nowhere. We know like Lange likes to work in the dark, supposedly, but actually it's kind of true, because when have we ever actually been linked for a player 24 hours before it even happens? Rarely now under Lange. So it was exciting. I will get into the Newcastle game tomorrow in the pod with me and Ben. Ben can't join today. But I mean, this is just a series just to talk to you lot, and I mean the support we've had on the channel has been amazing. And I feel like we need more things where we're in it together. We need to talk more, and because obviously the podcast is just recorded, just me and Ben. So I want to engage with the community a lot more, because you're all incredible, and thank you for the support. Also, Kolo Muani. I'm getting to Kolo Muani because I was really pissed off coming out of the Newcastle game, and I saw that link, which has accelerated since. And I'll get into it. What's your thoughts on Kolo Muani? Let's just read the comments. How are we all doing? We all good? Hello from Brisbane, Australia. Legend, mate. Thank you. Yo, yo, yo. Kinsky debut on semi-final against the best team in the world. I'm here for it. Mate, imagine if he dropped like a 10 out of 10 performance against Liverpool. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Billy, how's Southend doing? Great. Just wish the fans would stay more positive. In that. Kinsky, it looks like he's either going to be a great or a disaster. Doesn't feel like a middle ground for him. All right, so let's get into it. So, Antonin Kinsky, 21, from Slavia Prague. I'll be honest. I think I'm speaking on behalf of most people. I hadn't got a clue who this was, but I wasn't expecting that. And actually, I think I was annoyed by Sam Johnston, the Sam Johnston links a little bit, because I was thinking, fucking hell, well, I could have contacted Spurs and scouted Sam Johnston. Like I could email Daniel Levy and be like, this is what I know of Sam. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to be surprised. I wanted to know that our scout and recruitment team's actually doing their job. And this kid looks unreal. I say kid, he's a year older than me. But for a goalkeeper, he is a child. Well, he's not a child, but he's so young, and to be this highly rated. Again, I didn't hear about him since yesterday, so I could be waffling. But to be this, like what we're hearing is he's so highly rated at 21 years old. His prime's not going to be for another 10 years. And I'm just saying, Petr Cech was signed for Chelsea, probably before I was born. But I can't remember. Maybe you'll know. I can't remember, but there was an established number one for Chelsea. Petr Cech came in and he just took his spot like straight away, and everyone was surprised because Petr Cech was so good. And let me tell you, this guy's from the Czech Republic. I guarantee his hero is Petr Cech. And if he's half the skill level of Petr Cech, I mean, fucking hell, what a signing! It's what, £10 million plus add-ons. Well, there's been a couple of reports. I think Ali Gold said it was 10 mil plus add-ons. I think a few other reporters are saying that it's around 15 mil plus add-ons. I'm really happy with it. I'm really, really excited because with Sam Johnson, it felt like you were just kicking the can down the road, and it was just like, we'll deal with goalkeepers another time. We'll sign Sam Johnston, and then we just kick it down the road, and then in a year and a half, we're then fucked again, and we're stuck in the same cycle. And it's like that we're in with Fraser Forster. I mean, Fraser Forster was signed under Conte, and it looked like a nice stopgap, and now we're in a situation where, well, we have to put him in net. So this, I mean, our goalkeeping, our goalkeepers, they're sorted for the next five years. Yeah. And you never know. Kinsky, he could come in and take Vicario's spot. I mean, Vicario, I rate him so highly. But that's the thing. We wanted someone to come in and challenge him. And you want to make people uncomfortable. You want them uncomfortable in their positions. And also, it's just healthy squad rotation. He can't play in the Europa League for us because I think he's been playing for Slavia Prague. So that's probably Vicario's spot. Maybe Forster plays 1 more, 2 more, 3 more games in the Europa League, which is a bit nerve-wracking. But Kinsky can come in straight away, play against Liverpool, play against Arsenal. Fucking hell, what a couple of games to sort of settle in. If you're not used to the Premier League and you're 21, maybe we do have to give him a bit of time. But from what he looks like he fits the system perfectly, and that's what's good. We're back in Ange, aren't we? We're back in Ange, because if we'd signed Sam Johnson, I'd think, fucking hell, Ange is gone. Like, that's a stopgap. It doesn't suit Postecoglou's system. We're just hanging him out to dry again. This player, it really looks like he suits the system from his highlight reels. But I mean, there's been a few. He looks off his head a lot of the time when he has the ball at his feet. Seen him do some wild things. But that is kind of that and Postecoglou mentality. Like, you kind of have to be brave. You kind of have to be mental to sort of fit this viewpoint, Postecoglou viewpoint. You got to be fearless. So maybe it will come in and it'll do a job. His footwork looks really, really good, and he's actually been compared to as a young Neuer, which is exciting. Yeah, I'm really excited. So how do we feel? Let me read the comments. Only seeing the highlights. Kid is wild, looks crazy talented, and has experience in big games at 21. Love competition for Vic. Yeah, I agree, mate. As long as he comes in with a winning attitude and puts in week in, week out. Yeah, reaction to performances on equal measure to the guy spewing everywhere next to me in the south stand yesterday. Nice. The reaction to our feet. Yeah, read that. New rules. He can after group stages, I believe. Okay, so he could actually. Okay, so he can be registered in the Europa League. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I mean, that's great, isn't it? Because I think no one wants to see Fraser Forster in goal again. I don't even think Fraser Forster wants to see himself in goal again. Brandon Austin, mate, yesterday he was fucking quality. We'll get into it tomorrow, obviously, but I was so happy with Brandon Austin. But Fraser Forster, I think it's just unfair on everyone. And it's actually unfair on Brandon Austin as well to come in and be so heavily relied upon if he came in. The fact that we've got this done early, it's interesting. Do you know what, though? I saw something, and I want to get your take on it. So I can't remember what the report is. Yeah, I'll have to look it up, or let me know if we all probably saw it. But it was that Daniel Levy was in Prague over the last few days negotiating the deal. And I can't lie, that really pissed me off. Even if he managed to get this deal done quick, I think there's 2 ways. This is either PR, trying to get the fans back on side. Look what I'm doing. I'm going to Prague. Like, I'm getting this sign in. It's all like low key. I'm getting it done quick. I'm a new guy. I'm a new owner. It's either PR, or I mean, th- it pissed me off because it's like, what are you doing in negotiations when you've hired so many people to operate on the football side of things at the club? I think as Spurs fans, we all want him just away from all the football decisions. And if he's still this heavily reliant in the negotiations in every transfer, I mean, his talent idea is fucking wank. Like from 25 years, however long he's been at the club, his talent ideas work like 10% of the time. And he shouldn't be anywhere near negotiations. I think if this is true, I think fair play. If I mean, we'll have to see. Time will tell if it's the right signing. But it does look exciting. It sort of fits the mold in a recruitment strategy and fits Postecoglou's system. But at the same time, it's like you've brought in Scott Munn. Who is he? You've brought in Lange. You've brought in uh, all these scouts. Who Mackenzie is it? The head scout, chief scout. Brought all these people in, and you're still in fucking negotiations for the players. I don't understand. I don't understand it unless it's just PR to try and win over some fans. I think that's stupid, but could be a Levy Levy masterclass. I'm joking, but I don't know. How do you feel about that? When I feel like Levy needs to read the room a little bit, even if he was involved. Let's not tell all the fans because it's just annoying. Like we don't want to know you're like in the football operating. You're still operating in the football side of it. You just focus on revenue, focus on events and Squid Game sponsorships, and just let all the people that you've hired. Otherwise, there's too many cooks aboard a brothel. Brothel. I've obviously got something else on my mind. Broth. Um, I hope Julia didn't hear that. Let's look at it. Let's look at the comments. Austin was good. Yeah, I agree. He was really good. And actually, he was the least of our worries. Obviously, we'll get into it tomorrow. I don't really want to talk about the Newcastle game right now, but he was the least of our worries. I mean, we had. I mean, oh yeah, I'll save that for tomorrow. But I was really happy. And he looked quite confident in himself. And I mean, he was coming for crosses. It was something. I hope Vicario was sat on the bench with a notepad, looking at Brown and Austin come for crosses and take one for the team a couple of times to get the cross. And yeah, I was impressed with him. I was really happy for him as well. When can you see the younger guys doing it every week with Archie and Lucas? They just need time and upskilling. Yep. Oh, we can see the younger guys doing it every week with it. Yeah, that's the thing with those players. It's just game time, game time, game time. So if Kinsky comes in relation to Kinsky, obviously he's such a young goalkeeper. He looks like he has all the minerals to be a top player, but you just need game time. I mean, that's why I was pretty sure that Bergvall needed the loan because, but now I'm like, fucking hell, he's like our best midfielder just off that game yesterday. But when you see he has everything. He has all the elements of a top footballer. He just needs to sort of just play certain mistakes out of his game, certain decision making, and it will happen from over time. He's a genetic freak. He's got all the attributes. He's got all the skill, all the finesse, the agility, the power. He's strong. He's strong. Both. I was saying with Archie Gray, they're strong, and they're physically ready. It's just about that speed, intensity, match sharpness, and that will come over time. And that sort of goes hand in hand with decision making and experience on the pitch. So I think with Kinsky is good. Throw him in the deep end. Ange does that. I don't know where Yang was yesterday, but he threw Odebear in on his debut after a few days of signing him. I think he'll do the same with Kinsky. He kind of has to. But with Bergvall, it's good. You're seeing these players come and you're seeing them get game time now, and I mean, that's why we need to give him game time. We signed him. We don't have the numbers to not give him game time. And I'm looking forward to seeing Bergvall again. Vernon needs to be the next one to be removed from the European squad. Yeah, 100%. Tomorrow we'll get into it, but fucking hell, I'm so done with him. Austin was great on corners. Looked more confident than Vic. Yeah. Totally agree. Levy should not play with knobs if he doesn't know their jobs. And that kind of leads me on to Kolo Muani. Talk about playing with knobs. If you know, you know. Apparently, it's not actually him, but we need Don Fabio back in the worst way, mate. In the best way, we need Don Fabio back. I mean, Chris Colan was at the game yesterday. Apparently, Parachi was there, and he was pacing up and down on the phone. And this has got me thinking. So I'm going to get into Randall Kolo Muani. What are your thoughts on Kolo Muani? It's sort of accelerating. We're hearing a few murmurs. And Paul O'Keefe is saying he's the one that interests him a lot. He's the player. He's the attacker that he was going to report on. People sort of jumped the gun and guessed him, but he needs that bit of clarification to know if it's close or not. This is picking up a bit of speed, and some mainstream journalists are starting to pick up on it. I think Ben Jacobs reported it on today that we've been internally discussing him. Santi JM, I can't remember his fucking. Okay, I think that's his name. He reported on it saying we're interested in him. There's been a few journalists say that we're interested in him, but now it's sort of looking like it's taking that next step. Billy says I'm on the fence with Kolo Muani, and I'll tell you, I agree, Billy. I'm the same. I think. I'll sort of I'll go through the pros and cons. Please tell me he isn't the guy tugging while Saliba recorded. I don't know, but he's going to be up against Saliba on in a couple of weeks in the North London derby. If it is him, if it's not, how about we just stick to an initiation song in the dressing room or something like that? Just don't pull it out. Just don't. But I mean, you can do. I just think it's not nice on the rest of the dressing room, really. If it is him, we don't know. Honestly, haven't seen much of him. Based off of socials, people will either say he's going to be great or his version of Werner. How much is Miami going to cost? So Kolo Muani is picking up speed. When I saw this yesterday, it was after the Newcastle game. I was a bit annoyed, and I was sort of thinking, it's so Tottenham. This is my original state of mind. Like, I'll get into how I feel now, but I was thinking it's so Tottenham to go for a player that's recently gone for big money to a big club, struggled, not made it, and then loan him in January and take a punt on him and see if they're good or not, and see if you want to sign him permanently in the summer for a cut price. I mean, technically that's quite smart, but because his levels at Frankfurt were incredible. He's a consistent player for the French national team, and he can cover across the front three. I mean, they're all boxes ticked. He's an international player, like I said, and the French squad is so competitive, and he manages to play all the time. Like, not all the time, but he gets a heavy amount of minutes. He's out of favour at PSG. I think he scored 3 goals, maybe 1 assist in the league with. I can't remember, is it 13% minutes played or something like that? He hasn't been playing. He's going to leave in January, and we're sniffing about. I was annoyed because I was like, we always do this. Why can't we be the team beating, like, in the race for the players that are in form now before they go to that club? That was my frustration yesterday, because it's like, we've seen it where, like, Werner, and I know I'm not saying fucking hell we should have signed Werner when he was playing for Leipzig back in the day. In hindsight, would have been a terrible move and he would have cost a lot of money. But Liverpool, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, they're all fighting for Timo Werner when he was lighting it up in the Bundesliga for Leipzig. And there's countless examples of this where they make that move, they struggle, they're out of form, and then we try and sign them on a loan or on a cheap, and it doesn't really work out. I mean, Kulusevski, I guess he was a youngster at Atalanta, and he was bossing it in the Serie A. Signed for Juventus, didn't really work out. We loaned him. Could be similar to that. Muani's 26. Obviously, Kulusevski was what, 2021. So it's a little bit different. But I mean, I don't know why we didn't. So I'm a bit annoyed that it's not like we're not going for like a Marmouche. Like, why can't we be in the race for like a Omar Marmouche? Because he's on fire now. I mean, I can put a bet on right now that he'll go to a team, he'll flop, and then we'll try and loan him next year. But then I think Jackie Nicout, I listened. He sort of replied saying, covers for Solanke, covers for, and I think you were saying it as well, Matthew, saying if he can take minutes off of Big Dom, cover for Son can play maybe like a bit more of a bit part role and keep a bit more fresh. Johnson, fucking hell, he was atrocious yesterday. If he could play on the right, it's a win-win either way because we can get him on a cheap. We save a bit of budget for a defender and a left back, or just a left-sided defender. We save that money, and then we're in the we've got the advantage of knowing if it worked or not in the summer, and we can sort of assess it then. I like that idea now, and that has sort of changed my perspective on it. I think I've done a full 360, and now I'm thinking we're going to get like Champions League. Obviously we're not, but I think Kolo Muani, he fits the system well. Him at Frankfurt fit the system really, really well because the only issue he's always had is his finishing. And if we have, I think Solanke's issue is finishing. But again, Solanke gets a lot of goals because we create so many chances. Same with Johnson. I mean, he's our top scorer, is he, in this season, and his finishing is atrocious. But he gets goals because, and over a collection of games, he does get goals because we create so much. Kolo Muani will get goals, and I think it will work. He's I've heard he struggles a little bit breaking down low blocks, but he's good in the air. He's quick, good link-up play, good dribbler, really good in transition. So he could be a bit of a cheat code off the bench as well if we're playing and we're maybe winning and we're trying to stretch the game and catch him on the break. Kolo Muani and he's fucking levels above Timo Werner. And if we can have like Kolo Muani and Johnson off the bench to stretch a game, or when we're trying to hold a lead and we have to keep the opposition worried about the counter, I mean, they're brilliant players to bring on. So I am really optimistic about this, and if it's a loan, I think it's a win-win either way. I don't see it as a problem at all, and I'm actually really excited if it does sort of materialize, because we need reinforcements in attack. He's 26. I mean, someone's just mentioned Audebert. I think that's a separate sort of comment, but he's French. Audebert, hopefully that helps him bed in. And I'm excited. Fabio Paratici is what I want to talk about before. He was seen pacing up and down on the phone. And that's what the Levy thing. I'll be fine with Levy in Pragui, negotiating the Kinsky deal, because the Kinsky deal's happened now. It's official, and that maybe Lange and Paratici or whoever's involved in negotiations, they're elsewhere doing negotiations for other players. Maybe that's why he's had to come in, but I'm not justifying it. I think he should be away from all football operations. We've got so many people involved. But Kolo Muani, Paratici, that's what I wanted to say. A couple of years ago, before he went to PSG, we bid we were willing to bid, or there was rumours that we bid a lot of money for Kolo Muani, and that we were really interested in. Paratici was a really big fan in him, and we didn't. I think he wanted to go to PSG, and that was his big move. He wanted to do that, and so that kind of fills me with a bit of positivity, a bit of like a bit of optimism, because if Paratici's talent ID is probably 70% successful, 60% successful, it's high. And if Kolo Muani can reach the levels he was at Frankfurt before we signed him, let's not forget that was a year and a bit ago, he could be a really, really, really good player for us, an absolute bargain. And he suits the system. He can play on the edge, like on the last man. He can play on the wing. And he's really good in the air. Yeah, his finishing is pretty shocking. And I think we all saw that in the World Cup 2022 when he could have won it for France, and he kicked straight at Martinez. It was a good save though, but that does worry me. I mean, that is the most Tottenham moment of all time. So he was destined for Spurs. Like, as soon as he missed that in the World Cup final, bottled that chance, mate, he was destined to come Spurs. So I'm excited. I've done a full 360. Bit of a win-win, because in the summer, if he is shite, I think we've been burnt by the Werner situation, by Werner coming in and being so good, and us being positive about him, and then dividing opinion on whether we should sort of stick a twist. Fucking worst decision in the club's history, getting him again instead of getting an established or exciting another winger. He was almost just another body, wasn't he, Werner? But we've got so many injuries that that he's so heavily relied upon. It's just such an awful situation. but maybe we have been burnt from that Werner situation, so he will have to deserve an obligation or an option. Maybe it's an obligation. He's a long-term target, and we want to sign him, and we know we're going to sign him. And the obligation, it's just kicking that price can down the road and sorting it out later. But I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I'm excited to see what you can do. We don't know the terms of the deal yet. We don't know if it's a buy option or a buy obligation. I think I'd rather an option, because there is the possibility that he could flop. Bundesliga and Ligue 1 levels below the intensity and the physicality of the Premier League, but international level, he's a really good player for France. So we'll see, and it's exciting because we're making moves. We're being early, and this is the biggest sort of this is the evidence that we are sorting ourselves out. We're pulling our finger out, and we are trying to help Ange. I mean, it's beyond disaster, isn't it? And if we didn't, it would just be fuck it, like absolute negligence. And it was kind of negligent in the summer, because we're buying all these players that Ange Postecoglou would probably never manage in their prime. But now we're signing players for the now. Kolo Muani, let's not like where we are right now. He's a player for the now. He will, and he'll be starting games, and he'll probably be starting out on the right just because you get him in. And I think Johnson's level has been really poor. I know he scored a lot of goals, but he kind of needs that little bit of competition, I think, because he has no one else on the right wing. Kulusevski's is so important to us now, and centrally, he has no one else to really push Brennan Johnson. And I think Brennan Johnson, if he's not starting, I think that's the best possible scenario, because he's so good off the bench. I'm going to drink my tea and read the comments, because I've been talking for a long time. I would accept a loan deal, low risk, high reward. Yeah. Muani, bloody autocorrect. Cherki, we'll get into Ryan Cherki. 2 lads from Lyon would be better. From stinking Leipzig. Marmoush is the best example of that. Should have signed him in the summer. Now he's out of our reach. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You get this player, they're just coming into their peak. Marmoush is 25, and he has all the attributes to fit our system. And we should have pulled the trigger on him instead of Werner, because he would have covered striker and winger. And we wouldn't be in this situation, and he would be perfect. Now he is out of our reach. I mean, Man City are sniffing about, Arsenal, and clubs all around the world, and we can't compete right now, because where are we right now? We're hand in hand with Man United in a flirting of relegation. So he's out of our reach. So that's the thing. I know that's captain hindsight, but we need to learn from that, and we need to see someone who's playing for a Frankfurt. Kolo Muani was playing for a Frankfurt. And you let them, and they're on form, and then you wait a little bit too long, and then big clubs pounce on them, and then our only option is to get them on a loan if they've flopped at a club, or they have an unbelievable player who fits in right away, and it's just frustrating. We just need more wingers due to injuries, good squad players that can give people fresher. Yeah, hopefully Odebear will ease the left-hand side when he's back from injury. He can go with both feet. Yep, and he can play on both wings as well, Odebear. I know he's predominantly left or attacking midfield, or like an inside winger, but he can play on the right. And I'm excited because we saw a glimpse of him, and he was so good, and then he got injured, didn't he? And he's been out really ever since. So I look forward to seeing him again. We need competition for Johnson. Too much for Passenger in these games. Terrible tracking back defensively. Moni might be. Mate, no one can spell Moani's name on this chat. Moni, fucking hell, shit puberty. Moni might be a good option. No player should be out of his reach. If Levy sticks his hands in his pockets, it gets serious and backs Ange. That's what the top clubs do. We need to change mentality of people. Yeah, I completely agree, and that's the thing. I mean, yeah, I do. We should be making a statement and going out and buying a player for a lot of money. But I'll be interested to see. I think I won't get annoyed at the moment. I'll be happy with Kolo Muani if we go out and sign a real good centre back, and we're going to get in the centre backs in a minute. But I agree, Charlie. 100% has to be a shift in mentality. We can't be acting. I mean, if we do another Werner deal, say Muani doesn't work out, it's even more pressure being piled on to Levy. But I do think he is. I think with Werner, he was so far beyond being shite and being in that shit run of form. Muani was good like a year ago, so he could just need a bit of confidence being installed with him, and he could hit the ground running. I can see him being a really good backup option, regardless. He could push if he reaches the levels he was at Frankfurt. He could push Dominic Solanke, but I mean, he'd be he'd be better than Richarlison just because Richarlison's never fucking available. So I mean, I think this signing, if it is made permanent or has an obligation, that's the end of Richarlison in the summer because he hasn't got a place in the squad for Richarlison because he's never fit. Um, so yeah, Ryan Cherki is cheaper, better experience, good with both feet. Cecil, I will get into Ryan Cherki, but I've got my I'm a bit pessimistic about Cherki. I don't even know if that rumor has legs. Is it like a couple of in the nose? We'll talk about him in a sec. Catch up with these comments. Will we sign Kolo Muani? It looks like it might actually happen. Cherki would be great. Need that profile. People saying he's next in Ndombele though due to his weight issues, I guess. Khan from Celtic as well, like a lot. Will we need defenders and central midfielder? Six and a right winger, predominant right winger. And I feel like we're going to be in such a better place. Because if, let's be honest, in an ideal world, our squad right now, if everyone stayed fit under Postecoglou, I reckon we would come around 6th or 5th. So you want to bridge that gap, and we need to make some statement signings. And I think number 6 and a winger, they're the types of positions that can take your game to the next level, and be that catalyst to try and compete. And that definitely takes us into the top 4. Who knows? Obviously, that's a perfect world because we've got a lot of injuries, and I feel like we're going to keep getting a lot of injuries. I think that's just the way it is. I think we have to accept it. Werner was supposed to be here for cover, but due to injuries, I don't think Ange has had much choice to play him. No, I agree. He's not good enough and low on confidence. Coyson is going to. Oh, yeah. What's his name? Koshinav or whatever his name is. Is that his name? He's going to City. Looks like one defender less on the market. Anyone know anything about Itakura? Yeah, we're going to talk about Itakura. Do we need Omar Marmouche? Yeah, I just think he's out of our league at the moment. Did hear a report that Prachi recommended Brennan Johnson to Ange and also recommend Dragusin, 2 players made for counter-attacking football. Yeah, that Prachi was the one that was scouting Brennan Johnson, supposedly, and who put Dragusin forward. I mean, that is worrying. Don't forget, Prachi has had some questionable sort of suggestions with the managers before. He got Brian Hill and Galini as his first signings, and but that's the perfect example because he got Romero at the same time. He did have a few misses. He had a lot of hits. When you're looking at the reshape of our spine, Vicario, I guess technically wasn't him, was it? But Van der Ven again technically wasn't him. But Romero, Sarr, Bentancur, Bissouma, Kulusevski, that sort of these players. I know Bissouma's a bit questionable now. He did have a few misses. Richarlison technically a miss. He did have a lot. But he's just miles ahead of Lange, isn't he? Do you think that Werner is good at Spurs because we should have the Egyptian striker Marmouche for the summer, but we're out of our reach yet? I get the shovel low. That had the makings of a brilliant punchline. Needs work, Will. Yeah, get the chubby girl to the gym and put in stock before she loses weight. I get the text. Hello. Yeah, terrible analogy and actually quite horrible, isn't it? I shouldn't have fucking said that. No idea why we haven't done more business sooner. Does anyone know why Dragusin came off? He was injured. He was really sick. Yeah, Dragusin. We'll get into that tomorrow. But I think Dragusin was really ill, wasn't he? I think that's it was like a premeditated change. And actually, Spence and Van der Ven kept a clean sheet. Not Van der Ven. I wish Gray, but 2 defenders and a winger. We need Archie Gray can be centre mid, good cover. I think I see a lot. I think I see Gray, Sarr, Bentancur. I'm a bit fed up with Bissouma, and I think if we're going to make way like sort of sacrifice a midfielder for a proper number six, I think Bissouma's the one to probably go. But I I think Gray, Bergvall, Bentancur, so you've got this hub of players. They would make unbelievable double pivot sixes and eights, like half and half. Um, have that destroyer next to them who's competent at passing and a good distributor. And I feel like you could see them flourish, give them a little bit of freedom, but have more defensive-minded responsibilities and just be used in the link-up play, etc. I think you'd see them flourish. I think the number six is quite heavy for Gray to sort of occupy at the moment. It's a very vulnerable position, and you do make quite a few mistakes. I mean, Bissouma's probably the most press-proven player in the league. Well, maybe not in the league, but up there. And he gets exposed a lot, and his defensive position, etc., and it gets frustrating. So I think Archie Gray, that position, it's a bit unfair to chuck him in straight there. But then again, we signed him to replace Højbjerg. He kind of has to, I guess. But Archie Gray, Bergvall, these players that have played number six before, I just think it's a bit too much for them at the stage of their development. One day, 100%, but I don't know. We need the signings because due to the injury crisis, Van der Ven looks like he keeps getting injured all the time, and the centre back really needs to get back in training a lot. And the same with Romero. Dragusin was one of the best players with the bug going around. Had nothing left. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Being Cardoso in the summer and go with Archie. I've missed it. It's gone up. Yeah. Summer and go with Archie and him with the sixes next year, sell Biss in the summer. I like the idea that we are now signing wonder kids with high potential, but I would have liked even more if we had just sign if we were not just signing wonder kids. Yeah, Darren, I think that's the same with everyone. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Because we need to back hands for the now and for the future as well. We need this momentum going, otherwise we won't get back to wins. And Richarlison gets left out of the team all the time. And I wish the manager will play Richarlison because he's a good player. Yeah, but how often is Richarlison fit? Like he's if you're not fit, you're not it. Ideally, he'd be brilliant, but he made a fucking poppadoms, isn't he? Agree, sell Biss in the summer. Right, I've caught up. I'm gonna sit. It's gone cold, but my mouth was really dry. So let's get into Ryan Cherki then. What does everyone feel about Cherki? I'll do a little. Okay, I'll say yes for in the chat for if you want to sign Cherki, and say no if you don't, and then we'll get into why. Because I'll give you my not advice. My perspective is we should stay away from him. He's one of those players that you watch and he make you fall in love with football, but he is not. He's not. It wouldn't be. I think he's a bit of a luxury signing. I think he stepped up a lot mentally, and have a bit more responsibility this season. And Lyon need to sell, and they're in so much like they're struggling. But I mean, he is young, he's brilliant, he's got tons and tons of potential. But I think if you're signing him for Postecoglou, you can't carry players. You can't. You need everyone on it. And I don't think he's that pressing winger or number 8 that we actually need. It's the sort of system. If one player isn't on it, the whole press is dismantled, and we can get played through, and then the whole point, and then we're exposed. To our defense is exposed, and I just think we need someone more press competent than Ryan Cherki. He's unbelievable when you see clips of him and you see him in games. He's the star quality he has at his age is ridiculous, but I just don't think I think there's so many other positions to strengthen before we get him. But he's one of those players that you just want to have at your football club. I get it. I just don't think it's a smart move in January. I don't think he actually helps. I don't think he contributes enough for goals, etc. To try and steer the ship this season. But yeah, what do you think? Yes, Charlie wants him. Every 2 to 3 kids we need experienced winners in as well to the season, then show them in the way. The same with Mikey Moore and Ben Davis because they are good players as well. I wish the manager will do something about it. Sapala, that's what makes me worry about the club, that they can't see how light the squad is and the players we're signing are more for the future. Yes, the profile outside of Audebert, worth a punt, and need the buy-in though. So it's a good point you're making. Leo says we need a stronger team because otherwise we go like 13th, 14th, and 15th in the league. And yeah, that's the thing. I feel like Cherki will come in and you think of the demands of the Ange Postecoglou system, mate. I just don't know if it would suit him. We can't carry these like luxury type players. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is a hard working player. I just think there's been I know for a fact that there was a bit of a delay in his development because he wasn't being picked and he was going back to reserves. Because that tactical aspect of having him in the team, it weren't there. Charlie says, is he technically gifted? And is great with young players with technical ability. Yeah, I mean he is, and we do need some technical ability. We do need that technical quality, that ball retention, and he would bring that. He's unbelievable dribbler, so skillful, unbelievable on the eye. But I just think that I just don't think he'd work in this system. And that signing is like, I feel like we're then sort of looking back in the summer and thinking, why did we sign Cherki? Like, he doesn't fit the system. He's a brilliant player, but then we're left with a player that, I mean, you're not really backing Ange. Unless we just fuck it and go for it and sign him as well as a Kolo Muani, and he's then that right midfielder. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. And actually, I don't even know if it has legs. There's no journalists reporting this. It's all like in the nose. But yeah, I'm Ange, but Ange must feel like a plum when all the players he left in the wilderness have played well for him. At least Reggie might get some value now. So do we need to call up from the academy or not? Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that tomorrow. Regulon coming back. It was mental. And he weren't that bad, was he? He weren't. So questions may be asked over for Ange over that, but yeah, we'll get into that tomorrow with Ben. Last thing I wanted to get into was the centre back search, because if we get Kolo Muani, maybe there's a bit of a leftover budget there if we get him on a loan. So I would be. I mean, we're linked with. Well, we're not linked with, but Paul O'Keefe said that we've been offered Itakura. That makes sense because he's CAA base. I've heard that he's quite lightweight. He looks fast, technical, but a bit of a slight defender. And maybe that's why Man City let him go back in the day, because he just didn't have that physical presence that you need as a centre back in the Premier League, no matter what. Because otherwise you get bullied. You do. So I don't really want a player that comes in and doesn't improve us. I don't want players for the sake of it. I know he's CAA based, probably get him on a good deal. I think we were linked with him last January for last summer, if that makes sense, for like a 12 million signing, and we didn't go for it then. So why would we go for it now? I don't see that as sort of forward planning. He's a bit experienced. I think he's 27. But I think there's a reason why no Premier League clubs have sort of taken a punt on him or been seriously interested in him. But Paul O'Keefe said, and the positive is Paul O'Keefe said that he's the backup option. So what is the first choice options that we have? It'll be interesting to see. And if we've loaned Kolo Muani, what's good is that we'll have that budget left over. I mean, if we've spent 10, 15 mil on Kinsky, what money do we have left over to spend on a centre back? 20 mil, 25 mil. Who's available in the market that suits our defensive line for 25 mil? And Kushinov is a player that's been linked with Man City, so I don't know if we'd be able to sign him. I don't know if we could compete with even Man City now, how shit they are. Don't think we can compete with them when we're looking to sign players with our wage budget structure and competitiveness season after season. I was thinking, Matthew Sapala says, I was thinking Kushinov was the first option. Not much out there. That's the thing. You're looking at, in a way, I kind of don't want us to make any like knee-jerk signings and sign a player that doesn't fit the system that we just need for a bit of cover, almost like we did with Dragusin last year. So now we're looking at a centre back that doesn't fit our system. He can't play out from the back, and he can't and he hasn't got the recovery speed, and it doesn't make any sense. He's not even agile enough. So, I mean, I'm half expecting Dragusin at the end of the season. You know, in Scooby Doo when the villain they capture the villain and they take off their mask and it's someone they know. I'm half expecting him to take off his mask, is there, and it's fucking Eric Dyer or Davinson Sanchez, and they're going, "Oh, I would have got away with it if it weren't for." Do you know what I mean? I don't. They're anyway. Enough about Dragusin. We'll get him. We'll get into him tomorrow, but we can't have another Dragusin signing. We can't have another Werner signing. We've been burnt by that window, I think, so bad. Apart from Bergvall, obviously Bergvall was a pre-agreed signing for the summer, but Dragusin just doesn't fit the system. We can't just be knee-jerk and sign someone just to get a body in that we're then going to have to get rid of in a year to 2 years' time. That's not how a smart football club operates. So we need to be looking in the right market. And a signing like Antonin Kinsky kind of proves that they'll be looking for stylistic players that fit the style that Postecoglou that plays, stylistic signings, young signings that fit the structure that we don't really know of. There will be players out there. There will 100% there will be. It's just whether or not they're ready to come in straight away, because whoever we get in will be played straight away. We don't have a choice. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Cushion of, if he's a player we're looking at, that's promising because he would fit the system. He'd be ideal. Obviously, he's linked with other clubs. But if we're looking at that sort of player, and Itakura is a player that is a backup option, there's a couple of players ahead of him, then I'm excited to see who they are, and I'm sure the names will come out. Paulo, people saying that these players are they're harder to do at the moment because it's like other pieces have to be moved on before we make certain signings. That's how January sort of works. It's a really difficult and tight window to try and negotiate in. So you need to move a few pieces before you bring him in, or and vice versa for both clubs that you're negotiating incoming and outgoing. But that's why it looks like Kolo Muani or an attacker is going to come in before that player, which I think some people got annoyed at because we need defenders now. Kolo Muani, maybe we don't need right now, but it's the way it is, apparently, according to Paul O'Keefe. I'd rather buy Paul Pogba at this point if I were Levy. Yeah, but how much wages is Paul Pogba going to be on? He's going to be like 600k, even if he is a free transfer, plus the signing bonus. Levy would have a heart attack. Just trying to see through the Levy lens. He maybe have fooled us about 5 or 10 years ago, but the fan base have got much wiser to his tricks. Eric Dyer doing his best to get a game. Yeah. To be fair, we need cover at centre back, maybe a loan out there if playing 4D chess. Signing loan Dorgu back, get him before the price is crazy. That's a signing that I wouldn't be totally pissed off at if we sign him and loan him out because of what we were talking about with Marmoush, what we were talking about with Kolo Muani originally. You're getting there ahead of the rivals. A doggy is the perfect example of how we can do that, and we loan him back. Bergvall beat Barcelona to him, loan him back, and it's smart, and that when we have operated like that, it has worked out. So maybe we do have to do that with Dorgu, and I wouldn't be too. If we signed Dorgu and then a centre back, loan Dorgu out, I'd be so happy. I think that'd be quality. Charlie says Dorgu would be great in my opinion. Yeah, Pogba on Peds would be class. Sarr as well. Yeah, we did it with Sarr, so we do operate like that. So maybe we could. That might be something we look to do. We are in a position where we have to do knee jerk due to inaction during the summer. Right now, I think Ange would take the cleaner if they were fit. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. I don't think Levy can get away with that. You can't make signings and be like, "Oh, look, we made signings," because we'll be like, "Well, yeah, that's because," and you've made all these reactionary panic buys because of your incompetence in the summer, and then you're sort of kicking the can down the road and sort of taking the heat off you for the meantime, where it's going to build and build, and then it's going to come back in the summer. We need to, if we're gonna sign Dorgu, so what we probably should do if we can't get a proper left back in right now is sign Dorgu, loan him back, and then sign that a centre back, that competent centre back in at the same time. That would be long term planning, wouldn't it? But maybe David Hanko, everyone's talking about him. It's a bit limited with left sided centre backs, isn't it? Maybe we sign a player who's right footed who can play on the left hand side. Maybe that's the way we go. I'm a bit confused how Levy knew he would be playing in a lot of competitions, but left the squad light. Yeah, well, we all know how he operates, don't we? Right, everyone, thank you so much. I'll be back soon. I'm enjoying these. I'm enjoying your input and having a conversation with them. Really quickly, right now we're linked with Kolo Muani, and we've signed Kinsky. It's the 5th of January. If the window would have ends on Kolo Muani and Kinsky, what would be your rating? What would be the rating of the transfer window? What would you say? I would say 5. And that's just because I think we come into the window, our most crucial, pivotal signing would have to be a defender. For the long-term plan and for the now, it's ridiculous that we didn't actually sign a left-handed centre-back, left-back, and we haven't been linked to anyone yet, which is a little bit worrying, but we know Lange works in the darkness, and maybe he's working on something. Prachi was on his phone the other day. Maybe he was just talking to his wife. But I'd be so fucking pissed off if we didn't address that defense. At least left back. So yeah, 4 out of 10. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, didn't address biggest need, which is defensive cover. Kolo Muani would be an absolute like plus. And sort of, I'm willing to take that gamble. Not gamble. I don't even think it is a gamble. I think it's quite safe. And this Kinsky looks like a good signing. Looks like we've used the window well and signed someone who's cheap, who we know would come to us, who fits the system. So good, reasonable price as well. And Lange is like Batman. Yeah, but Batman could actually do something. I'd say Lange is a little bit like Robin or something. Legend Will, love interacting with everyone. Yeah, everyone, thanks so much for joining. Have a good one, Will. Great stuff. Thank you so much, everyone. You're all legends. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll be back in the next couple of days. Tomorrow we'll be back with the podcast. Me and Ben talk about the Newcastle game, and yeah, we'll keep. Actually, Ben's working right now on I think he's put out the Newcastle reaction. He must have done, I think, and Kinsky video. So if you want to know more about Kinsky, go over and watch that video. I know you will. Yeah. Ben's a legend. He's always on it. So yeah, go check that out. Legends. Catch you later.